We've got a few things to cover today. We have a new 10-inch handheld from TDJ. We've got an update from ASUS on the SD card situation for the ROG Ally. As well, I have a new caution for the Hall effect joysticks I've talked about on the ROG Ally. The Steam Deck may be showing up at GameStop soon. AYANEO launches the Air 1S campaign. And the refreshed Win 4 campaign is almost here. I wasn't feeling very well during some of the recording, so please forgive the raspy voice. Welcome back everyone to another OKestWeekly recap where we cover all things handheld PC gaming. All news or no news, we'll cover every brand. And don't forget, if you enjoy this video, do the OKest thing and boop that like button. And if you're enjoying the channel, subscribe below. Alright, let's jump into it. I've got a new device to cover today, and that's the TJD T10. I had a buddy send this to me a few days ago, and I've had a chance to take a look at it. They have a Facebook group where they have most of the information posted. So they have a summary here in a product comparison chart. So you can see that they have it compared with the Ally, but let's just take a look at the specs. So it has a 7840U, 16 or 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM at 6400 megatransfers per second, 2280 size SSD. It looks like they're planning to do 512 to 2 terabytes, and it's PCIe Gen 4, as well as a micro SD slot. Probably the most notable feature is the 10.1 inch screen at 1200p, which obviously is going to be pretty big. I'd be really curious to see that besides some other devices, maybe even like the OneXPlayer 2. It'll be interesting to see a device that dwarfs the size of the OneXPlayer 2 with this 10.1 inch screen. Looking at the I/O, we have two USB-C ports that are USB 4, and we have one USB-A port. The battery seems to be a 60 watt hour, and it's included with a 100 watt GAN charger. It has Wi-Fi 6E, and it looks like they're including a fingerprint scanner. So if you're not on Facebook, you can also learn more from their website. So let's take a look at that. So it's meteorish.com. And you can check out all the information and some of the color configurations. You can see that they have white and blue, they have black and pink, yellow and red and green. And then they have an orange, red, pink, blue, green, pretty much multicolor. So you can sign up if you want to get notifications for the launch. You can go to the Facebook group, or you could do a survey where they have some questions. I guess what's important to you, what's the price that you're looking for, and a few other questions. And of course, if you scroll down, you'll get more information, basically summarizing what the specs are, and a bit of a chart here. It looks like AYANEO style. So it's definitely interesting to see a new type of handheld that's definitely unique. We haven't seen one that has such a large screen in this form factor. So I'll leave a link to the Facebook group as well as the website if you want to learn more. I'm not sure when this is planned to come out. They're looking at doing a campaign, either Indiegogo or Kickstarter. In the survey, it actually asks which one you'd prefer. So I'm assuming they're going to go with one of those two options. So let me know what you think of this device. Is this something that you're going to be watching, something that you're interested in? And what do you think of the colors, the 10.1 inch screen, and the form factor? Let's talk about it in the comments, or hop into the OKest Gamer Discord and let's discuss it there. Alright, that's going to do it for this handheld. Let's head over to the ROG Ally updates. I don't have too much to cover for the Ally this week, but I do have a couple things to go over. The first thing is an update on the SD card situation. So when we go to the official ROG Discord server, we can find a post that identifies what the issue was with the SD card. So in their testing, it turns out that there's certain thermal stress situations that lead to the failure of the SD card slot. So to alleviate the situation, they're pushing out an update that will adjust the fan curve a little bit higher, and it's their hopes that this will help avoid the issue. If you're experiencing this issue, the official direction is to return or exchange your device if you're within your return window, or RMA it if you're outside of that window. We're not really sure what the full long-term solution is here for fixing this issue. For myself personally, I did have my first Ally have this issue, and I always had a custom fan curve that was set to 100% at 70 degrees Celsius, so I'm not quite sure this is going to fix the issue. We also have others that have been trying to recreate this issue by running their devices on turbo plugged in, and they haven't really encountered it, so it seems inconsistent. I'll keep following this issue, and hopefully we have a long-term fix that those devices that are getting fixed don't experience this issue again, and also future revisions of the device come out without having the problem. The other update I have is actually for the Hall effect joysticks. I've talked about it a few times, but I did put out the second video, and there's actually been some users that are now getting their joysticks and have been testing it, and they've been actually having some issues with their right joystick. So I just want to re-stress, like I did in the video, that if you're planning to do this mod, make sure you know what you're getting into, that there's not going to be a perfect solution for everyone, and you may need to do some tweaking and experimenting. But if that's something that you enjoy, then hop in the server, pick up some sticks, and let's work on figuring this out. Aside from that, I don't really have a lot of Ally news to go over. There is going to be some accessories coming out. I've heard from a few manufacturers that they're planning to release some more accessories. So as those come out, I'll keep you guys up to speed, and maybe if I'm sent any, I can go over it and see if it's something that's worth for you to pick up or not. So that's my short and sweet update for the Ally this week. Let's move on to the Steam Deck. I've got a couple updates for the Steam Deck this week. The first one's coming from SteamDeckHQ.com, and it seems that the Steam Deck could be sold at GameStop soon. So this is coming from a Reddit post where someone put up a photo of what appears to be a flyer from GameStop that says that they're planning to introduce refurbished Steam Decks. They've got the 64 gig for $319, the 256 for $429, and the 512 for $519. And it looks like they're planning to sell the dock and a few other accessories. So of course, we don't know if this is true or if this is something that's just been made up. I guess we'll have to wait to find out. But the bigger question is, would you buy a refurbished Steam Deck? And if you did, would you buy one from GameStop? Let's discuss it in the comments, and let's move on to the next bit of news. For software updates, there was an update to the beta client as well as to the stable OS. I'm not going to go super in depth. For the beta client, basically they fixed some input issues with Xbox controllers. And for the stable OS, there's quite a few fixes across the board. There was some notification fixes, some browser fixes in desktop mode, in-game overlay, Steam input, once again the Nintendo Switch Pro controller here, and then a number of other things that are just general fixes. I'm always shocked at how many updates they have for the Steam Deck. It seems like every week there's like normally 4 or 5, so this was actually a bit of a slower week for the deck. And that's going to do it for my Steam Deck updates. Let's move on to AOKZOE. For AOKZOE this week, I don't actually have any updates. I'm still waiting on an announcement for the AID 2. I believe that the latest news is that it may be coming sometime in August, but we're going to need to wait for an official announcement on that. I'll keep you guys up to speed as I learn more. And that'll do it for AOKZOE. Let's head on over to OneXPlayer. I don't have a ton to go over for OneXPlayer this week, but I do have a couple updates. So there was another couple beta testing events similar to what I talked about last week, where people can come and try out the Onexfly. If you're curious about these events, check out the One Netbook YouTube. They did post a couple videos showing the event. It looks like they had a gaming tournament and people were able to just test out the Onexfly. You can get a chance to see the Onexfly in a video format rather than just the photos that we've been receiving, which definitely gives a more accurate picture of what the device actually looks like. The only other bit of news is that apparently the OneXPlayer 2 controller connector, all of those that have been ordered have now been shipped out. I just received mine and I've tested it out and it seems to actually work pretty well. So I'm looking forward to testing this out with my Nreal Airs to see if I can increase the level of laziness while I play on my handheld. I didn't think it was possible, but I think I can do it. And that's all I've got for OneXPlayer, so let's move on to AYN. I've only got one update for AYN this week, and that's that they have been moving forward with their orders. I can confirm this because I did receive my email to complete my order. However, I didn't complete it because I have some other things that I'm picking up for the channel that didn't allow me to do this. Aside from that, I don't really have any news for AYN, so let's move on to AYANEO. For AYANEO this week, we have a couple of updates to go over. So the first one is that we have the AYANEO Air 1S campaign that's now live. As of the time of recording, you still have 27 days, so you have plenty of time to jump on this. But you may want to jump sooner than later if you want to get the early bird prices. So you can see right now that there's 37 out of 200 for this particular model. So it seems that they have a limited quantity of each one. So there's 200 here, 200 for most of them, except for there's a couple that actually have only 100. So if this is something that you're interested in, you may want to jump sooner than later. But let's take a closer look at what configurations we have. So we have the $799 16 gig 512, that's the early bird price. And it goes up by about $50 up to $1,099, and that's for the 32 gig 4 terabyte model. And then there's also a ultra thin and light limited edition, which is 32 gig 2 terabyte for $1,000. So I previously went over the specs for the Air, so I'll quickly comb over them today. So just really quickly, it has a TDP limit of 20 watt when on battery and 25 when plugged in, and the battery is a 38 watt hour. There is a difference though between the normal Air 1S and the ultra thin. So the ultra thin still has the same CPU or APU. However, it's a little bit thinner at 18 millimeters versus I believe it was like 22. and the weight's 405 grams versus the 455. And we can also see that it has a smaller battery, so getting that thinner device and lighter does come with some sacrifices. And my last bit of news is actually for iSpace 2. It looks that they're going to be opening it up to public testing sometime this month. So stay tuned. If you have an AYANEO device, stay tuned to the server, and they should have an update on when you can download that and do some beta testing. Okay, so that's all I got for AYANEO this week. Let's move on to GPD. This week for GPD, I've only got one thing to go over, and that's the GPD Win 4 2023, or the refreshed Win 4. So we've got the prices, configuration, as well as the release date. So it seems that they're going to be going live on July 17th at 10 a.m. UTC plus 8, and they're going to be starting at $699. Now, before you celebrate too much of that price, take a look. It's going to be the 7640U at $699. If you want the 7840U, you're going to be paying $839 for the first tier. So they've limited it to 3 different tiers of the 7840U. You can either get 512 gigabytes of storage, 2 terabytes, or 4 terabytes. 4 terabytes also coming with 64 gigs of RAM and coming at $1299. So I've covered the specs in a previous weekly, so if you want more information, check out their Indiegogo page. It has all the details here. I'll drop a link in the video description and check it out. And that's going to do it for GPD this week. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's updates. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.